Hello, this is Adam from Scan Pro Audio here with another video for you. I thought today we'd look at Genos. I'm going to kind of wing this video a little bit because what I thought we could maybe do is do a lot of the things like, you know, the questions that maybe you think you should know, you're a bit embarrassed to ask maybe, really basic things, but little kind of top tips, if you will, that feature on many of the Yamaha ranges. So I thought we'd maybe cover that today. And don't forget, put in the comments if there's anything that you'd like us to cover in future videos. We've got loads of Genos 2 content coming up. Got loads of SX920 content coming up as well. So people often ask, the way that the chords work on Genos in particular are very different than maybe a Chord or Ketron or maybe an old Technics or Roland or whatever, because you've obviously got different modes. So I thought there's a really, really great mode that is on, it's been on Yamaha now for quite some time, going right back through to the Tyros days, and it really got me onto a keyboard. Because obviously, for those of you that might remember, I grew up playing the organ, and obviously sometimes on a keyboard it's very difficult to emulate. I don't mean the sound, but the way the instrument plays, because you could do things like play a chord of C but with a B bass. You know, imagine Whiter Shade of Pale. How would you do that on a keyboard? You can't do it. You normally have a style that might sound like it and it kind of does the bass, but it's cheating a little bit. You're not really... that part of your brain that used to kind of play the bass is kind of redundant on a keyboard. Well, Yamaha developed a really, really cool way of playing chords called AI fingered chords. I thought what we would do is maybe start with that. So, what are we going to do? So if we go into like a free play style, we're going to movie and show. We've got these beautiful free play styles. Which one shall we pick? We'll go for Ethereal Movie. We've got 4 one-touch settings, as we know. What have we got? Let's have a look. Yeah, sorry, I was just checking my sustain pedal was working. Yes, it is. That's great. So, what is AI fingered chord and how do I access it? So, the way you do it, you simply press direct access, and your accompaniment button is the quickest way to do it. And then you can see now we've got this screen that's split point and fingering. We can see where the split point is. So if anybody wants to change the split point, that's where you do it. We've got where it's detecting the chords from. Why would we need that? Well, maybe sometimes you might be, you want to, at the moment it's a split on the left. And we want the chords to trigger from our left hand and we play a melody on the right. You might want the chords to trigger from the right hand and play a cool funky bass line or whatever. That's maybe why you want to change that. So let's have a look at this fingering type. We've got 2 pages worth. So let's go through them and let's see if we can make sense of what each one of these do. So single finger chord, very, very straightforward. How you used to kind of learn when they were teaching keyboards at school back in the day. Basically, if you want to play a chord of C, you simply press a C note, and that will give us our C chord. If you wanted to play a C and the closest white note to the left, that would give us a C7. So you can now see in the screen here, it's showing me I'm now playing a C7. If we play a C with the closest black note to the left, that makes us play a C minor. That is what single chord does, which is great for somebody that's maybe coming to an arranger for the first time, might want to buy these instruments to maybe write a few songs or get your songwriting going or whatever. It's the perfect way to learn chords from the off. Now, the other good thing is, I'm just going to switch that to the next mode, is, first of all, the problem with learning single finger chord is it kind of doesn't make musical sense, does it? Because, you know, if you're playing I don't know, a G and you want to play a G7, I suppose you're putting the F in with it, but you know what I mean? Sometimes the notes don't work, if you know what I mean. It's not in the same scale. So it kind of doesn't, you know, if you are musical slightly and you want to kind of learn how to play the chords, there's a really good feature in the Genos 2, under your menu button, you've got a chord tutor where it will actually, you can put in what chord you want to play, You can even scroll through and it will literally give you every chord, show you how to play it on the instrument with the notation, but also show you how it would appear on a piece of music as well. So it's a really good way of kind of teaching yourself those chords. But the next mode is quite clever again. So if we go back into it, fingering type, this time we're on multi-finger. So this is, for example, if you're learning a piece of music and you are coming away from maybe playing single finger chords and you want to play, fingered chords where you're playing more than one note. So you might want to play a chord of C this time. Now is a C, E and a G. So you might think, right, well, I've learned that one. But when I get to the bit where it's a G chord, I haven't learned that one yet. That's what multi-finger's for, because it will recognise full chords or it will recognise single finger chords. A minor was A and the closest black note to the left, because that's a single finger chord. But if you wanted to now F, I know that one, so you play full finger, 3 fingers, F. So it's really clever. It's a really good way of kind of pulling away from single finger chords and learning the traditional sort of block chords. Fingered chord is the same again, but it will now, you can't play your single finger chords. It will only detect what you've got. Fingered on bass, it's the same again, but basically this time, this is, so if you've heard artists that play keyboards on the circuit or whatever, so you might have heard Pete Shaw plays, a wonderful player for Chord, or Lee Wilbraham's another guy that does a lot of Genos content on YouTube. He might use fingered on bass. So what they would do is whatever note is at the bottom of the chord becomes the bass. So in effect, you're playing everything in root position. So if you're playing a C, I was taught on organ, your C note is in the middle, so G's at the bottom, then C and then E. So, but if I played that now, it's now playing a C with a G bass because it's taking that as the bass note. So it depends whether or not that mode is for you or not. For me personally, no, I'm not clever enough to play in that style. Then you've got full keyboard, where it will remove the split point and it will detect chords from how you play across the whole keyboard. So depending on depending on how you play, it will pull the chords from, it recognises both left and right hand. Page 2 is where I want to get to, because I want to talk about AI fingered chord. It's a really, really good mode, which everybody should have a go at learning. So we've got full keyboard mode, where this mode that I'm going to explain, AI fingered, will work right across the keyboard, but I don't want that. I want AI fingered chord. So basically what this does is, it will allow you to play normal chords, but we always get to that point in our music, don't we? Let's get a sound. It's quite nice, I'll go with that one. Nice felt piano, it's a beautiful sound, that. That was created, imagine you got an acoustic piano, and on an upright piano you have like a middle pedal. I think they used to call it the practice pedal back in there. And what you'd do is you'd press it down and to the left and it would lock it. And inside the piano it would layer some felt in between the hammers and the string. And you hear that kind of sound a lot nowadays in kind of sort of adverts and maybe movie soundtracks. It's a beautiful sound. We'll use that for this demonstration. So AI fingered chord, what does it do? Well, it will allow you to play normal chords. I say normal as in the 3 finger chords, sort of traditional sort of keyboard chords, organ chords. But this time, say for example, we always get it. We have in our sheet music, it'll say, right, play a bar of C, then we play a bar of G, then we play a bar of C again. But this time it says C/B, which basically means play a C chord, but with a B bass. And when I first came to keyboard, you'd be like, just ignore that, play a C. And it wouldn't really sound right, and it's a bit boring, and it doesn't sound like the record that you're trying to emulate or whatever. AI fingered chord, it allows you to do it. And the way you do it, very simply, is play a chord of C, then let go of everything, just hold that C. Whatever note I play now will become the bass note. There we go. And also, it's quite clever. Like, for example, the next chord I'm going to play is an E7, but with an A flat or a G sharp bass. It knows what you're trying to do. It's automatically done it, just by playing those two notes. Same again. E minor with a D bass. Yeah. So it's a fantastic mode, and it's might take a little bit of getting used to, but don't forget, unless you're playing Queen or you're playing something like from Les Mis or whatever, like I just did then with loads of different sort of chord things, generally if there is an alternate bass note, it's one in a tune or maybe two. There's not many, but it brings so much more dynamics to your playing. It's like playing the organ again in a way. And we said at the top, didn't we? We talked about we can never play Whiter Shade of Pale because we haven't got a bass pedal. Because if you remember let's find a style for it. It's going to be probably that one in it, organ ballad. There we go. So if we take all the automatics off and the Synchro Start off, that was the bass you play on your left foot. And you play the melody over the top. Well, now with AI fingered, we can replicate that. So let's do it, and we'll do it slowly. So we're going to play a C. So then it moves down. So we hold down the C and press the B. Then we have an A minor chord. Then we A minor with a G bass. Hold the A minor. Hold the A, press the G. Then we move down to F. And let's go back to full speed. Put the melody in. And so on. So you can now kind of really play it like you can with an organ. It's a great feature that maybe not a lot of us know. I imagine that people like me that have maybe played Yamaha for years in the Tyros days, right back PSR 9000, 8000, and so on, they will probably assume that you know what that is. Maybe you do. Don't know. But there'll be someone out there that won't know what that does. And it's such an intelligent, great feature that we all should do. And the keyboards aren't set to that mode by default. It's generally multi-finger. So change it. Yeah? Direct access, accompaniment, change to AI fingered mode. Even if it's for one chord in a piece of music, it's definitely worth trying it. And it makes your arranger come alive. It really does add dynamics to your playing and almost kind of gets you feeling like you kind of used to do on the organ, because I guess sometimes on an arranger, those of us that have maybe played organ in the past can be a bit boring because you don't have your brain working in all those different ways like you used to on an organ. That mode will really get you thinking like that, and it's a really, really great feature. What else shall we talk about? Well, something else. I'm going to do some really basic things. But again, there might be some of us in this watching this video today that is coming to an arranger for the first time. And a lot of the features that I'm showing is applicable on maybe not just Yamaha, maybe on other models as well, but also things lower down the range, SX920, 720 and so on. Maybe even older keyboards, Tyroses and things like that. A lot of these features have been going for years and years and years. And we, as in people that work in a shop, or might assume that you know this stuff already. So let's maybe recap, refresh some of these ideas and what they do. A lot of them are very obvious what they do, but again, you might be a bit afraid to ask because it's a bit obvious. So let's go through some of these features. Let's talk about obviously, we've got our accompaniment button, which we covered before. So in that, you've got things like changing the split point, changing the chord, AI fingered, switch it on immediately, chord detection area. We've done that. But OTS Link, what does it do? Yeah? Obviously, what does OTS stand for? I mean, I know we know this stuff, but there's people out there that don't know what it is. OTS, One Touch Setting Link. What's a one touch setting? It's basically whenever we pick any style on this keyboard, what's that one? Will come with a series of sounds called one-touch settings. Now, a lot of us might forget the one-touch settings and might actually want to just dive into the keyboard, select a style, select our own sound. Stop! Because especially Yamaha, these instruments now are so easy to play, and the reason why they're easy to play is because Yamaha have a dedicated team that create one-touch settings. One-touch settings are preset sounds that match, that go hand in hand with any given style. So please check out all the different one-touch settings that are in there, because generally, whatever you want to play, let's go through some styles and we'll kind of give you an idea. Tijuana brass. It's going to be sort of James Last kind of vibes, isn't it? I don't even need to kind of pick I don't even need to know what sound it is, because I know it will work, and that's the beauty. So what does One Touch Setting Link do? Well, every single style has 4 variations, A through to D, generally gradually building in intensity, sort of verse, maybe chorus, maybe middle 8, bridge, whatever you want to call it in D. Play about with it, see what fits with your particular given style. Now, the way I generally play is I don't like generally pressing too many buttons when I play. Maybe you're concentrating on your music. Adam's already told me to come off single finger and learn this AI finger chord. It's too complicated. I don't want to press all these buttons. That's what OTS Link does. It links together the variation along with the one-touch setting. So whenever I'm on variation A, it will pick sound 1. Yeah. Then we move to B. Changes to sound 2. C. Yeah, so it will actually, as you're playing, it will link together your one-touch settings with your A through to D. We all know that, right? Yeah, quite possibly, yeah, but someone might not know. Yeah, so that's a really good feature on one-touch setting. And what does it do? Another couple of other things that, if you think back to the days of playing the organ, or maybe some of the older models that Yamaha, if we're talking Yamaha or Technics, used to produce back in the day. If we look at something like a really popular keyboard back in its time, a KN5000, KN3000 from Technics, the intro and the ending button was always the same button. And it's because it would save space on the panel. You don't want to have, loads of buttons that aren't needed. It looked complicated, but the beauty with these modern instruments and these amazing touch screens that we've now got, a lot of these buttons that you can now kind of do it in the screen, can't you? So there's no necessity to have lots of buttons, thus freeing up space on the panel. And the reason now we've got a choice of 3 intros, haven't we? 3 intros, 3 endings. They all sound great, short, medium, long, whichever one pick whichever one you want to do. They all sound fantastic. But have you noticed the different buttons? Yeah, so why not have intro and ending buttons the same? Well, there's a genuine reason for that. And you'll notice that a lot of the pro players, in inverted commas, would while they're playing, they would press the intro button again. Yeah, one thing that my keyboard teacher always used to say to me is if you're playing a song and it might be going, say you're playing for some friends or you're playing live, and you might be playing and then all of a sudden someone gets up and starts to dance and you think, oh, well, this is amazing, but I'm near the end of the sheet music. My teacher always used to say to me, don't matter, go back to the beginning and transpose it, go up a key and play it again. Yeah, and then you might get even more people and really kind of read that situation for live play. Having these intros and ending buttons on separate buttons allows you to do that because it allows you to play another intro again. So for example, just taking that piece that I was playing there. So if we go... Coming to the end of my song. Oh, there's someone dancing, and then again, press the intro again. Back to the beginning. And so on. But there's an even cleverer feature that you can use when you're doing this. I mentioned earlier, transposing. The beauty is, of course, we mentioned earlier, we don't want to be pressing all these different buttons when we're playing the keyboard. The beauty with having an intro again, it gives you breathing space. It gives you time to go back to the beginning of your sheet music, especially with intro 3, where some of them you can go and make a cup of tea. They're that long. It takes a long time to scale through that intro, to play it through. What you can also do is you can transpose it, but the keyboard knows what you're doing. It won't actually transpose until you finish that intro and you play a chord or play the next bit, and then it will change key. It's really clever. It gives you that freedom. So let's do it again. Press the intro, change key. Wait, it's not doing anything yet. Now it's changed. Yeah, so it's a great feature, and a lot of these styles allow you to do, are long enough to allow you to kind of change the transposition, go back to the beginning of your music, maybe go back to one such setting number 1. So it's a great feature. But don't forget, at the end of your piece of music and you're going into your next song, you're still going to be transposed, so you need to go back. So you can either go back, it will tell you in the screen how many, up or down you are transposed. If you press both together, it will simply reset back to 0. So it's a really, really great feature. The other thing is, what is the difference between, you have a button here called auto fill-in. Yeah, because that's the other thing that we used to have on an organ back in the day. We'd have a fill-in button. So might have a and B variation. We might have a fill-in, but we don't need that anymore because there isn't a fill-in button anymore, because auto fill-in basically means that whenever you press a different variation, it will do a fill-in for you. Yeah, so in effect, you've got 4 fill-in buttons. So just using this style, because it's quite a lively style, it's a great one to use. So that's our sort of drum beat going along there. If I press variation A again, it's also a fill-in. Move to B. Because without that auto filling in, it's not necessarily, if you're moving from A to D, it might give a jolt because it now will end the bar and suddenly swap to D. So just to give you an example of that, that's variation A. Move to, without the auto filling on this time, move to D. It's actually not that bad, but it just kind of brings everything, you know what I mean? It's nice to have that nice lead into it. So that's another really good feature. I tend to kind of have that on all the time. You've also got a break button. So kind of we've talked about filling. What does a break do? Well, if you listen to, let's play a fill-in now. Play the automatics as well. You can hear the bass playing away there. Listen to that bass, lock into that bass sound, dong, dong, or between the two. If I press the fill-in, nothing really, yeah, the drummer does a fill-in, but nothing else really in the band changes. Yeah, it's literally, well, yeah, drummer's doing a fill-in, keep playing. Yeah, he's leading into the next sort of chorus or verse or whatever. So it's like all the band are kind of carrying on and playing and flowing into that next piece of the music. What a break does, it will break. So let's listen to the difference. Fill in. Can you hear the difference? It's a great feature is break, and it's really good for adding that syncopation in your playing. Yeah, so try using that break. The last one is the endings. Now we know, because we've featured them on many videos over the years, they're different dependent whether you play a Chord or whether you play Yamaha, but generally with Yamaha, you've got intro 1 is like a counting, intro 2, yeah, maybe 2 or 3, 4 bars, intro number 3, yeah, it's longer. And it's the same for the endings. 1 is really quick. Number 2 is kind of medium, shall we say? And then ending number 3. And then it ends, so it's a bit longer. But then you've also got writ. It says ending / writ. Ritardando, which basically means it slows down. So if you press ending number 3 and you then press it again, it will then slow down the style until it finishes. So it's a really good tip to use. So I don't know if it'll work for this style. We're doing a lot of Tijuana today, but it doesn't matter because it kind of works for what we're going through. So let's go for ending number 3 normal. Bit too slow, bit too quick that. I want to do a different style. So let's go for let's go for something like I want like a ballad, I think. Some kind of let's have a look. Let's try a twist. That'll do. So ending number 3. What is it? That's not too bad. So let's do it now and press it twice. Let's see what happens. Hear the difference? It this time slows down. Now I pressed it pretty quick then, because obviously it's quite quick in slowing down and didn't really work. So I should maybe have delayed that a touch. Yeah, that works better. So it's a really great feature. And I know it says ending / writ and it's in tiny letters, and you might not know that. Again, some of us will probably know that already. Some of us might not. So it's a really, really good feature to show when using your Genos. The other good thing as well, I know I've covered this before, you've got Synchro Stop which basically, well, let's start with Synchro Start. When it's on, basically means I don't have to press start, I play a chord and the style will start. Synchro Stop basically means when I let go of the keys, the style will stop. Yeah? But a little tip from me is a lot of us like to play, like I said before, with these free play styles. And there's another kind of hidden feature, I'm going to call it a hidden feature, because it's something that maybe it was done on purpose. I don't know, but it's a great thing, and I hope it never changes. And that is that if you're playing with the Synchro Start on, yeah, if the style is playing and I press Synchro Start, it stops, but it allows a break for me to then play again. So like just that first example we did. Hit the sustain pedal. It's a really nice way of breaking. I bet On My Own's never been played with a duduk before, but it kind of works, so it's all right. But yeah, so it's a really nice way of breaking up the music using that Synchro Start. And you don't have to stop and start again and keep pressing it. It's a really easy way. So as you're playing, press Synchro Start, let go, and then play again. Because once you press Synchro Start, it knows you're going to stop, but it activates the Synchro Start ready for you to play again. And that'll work with any style. Doesn't matter what it is. Obviously, be careful when you're playing with something that's got rhythm, which has got timing, which has got beat, which has got percussion, because it might not work. But we can have a mess about. We can try it. Let's go for something really loud and maybe like a dance style. By now, press Synchro Start. But the beauty is this time is once you activate the style, you can then release your hand again and it won't stop. It'll keep playing. It like switches on Synchro Start, and then when you play it, like removes it so it knows it kind of knows what you're doing. It's really, really clever. And again, a lot of us might know what Synchro Start does. A lot of us might know what Synchro Stop does. But using it, especially for those amazing free play styles, it's a really nice way of breaking up that your flow and it gives again. It takes me back to playing the organ. These free play styles, I could sit and play them all day because it's literally like back in the day, getting my sheet music out, picking a right hand sound, picking a left hand sound, picking a pedal, and I could just literally play all day without even having a style on. And it really does give you that kind of same feeling. Yeah, really, really nice feature. So I've covered a few very basic, very simple things that you can do on a Genos 2 there, but I'm hoping maybe some of you not necessarily didn't know those features, but maybe didn't use them in the way that we've talked about in this video. So I hope it's been something that you may or may not have learned. It doesn't matter. We're all here and we're all enjoying these amazing products together. But if there's anything that you want to, I have so much to do on Genos 2. We've got, I mean, I know we've had Simon, but I want to do more. I want to talk about the voicing. I want to do stuff on super articulation and what it is and why it's important and why this makes this product intelligent and things like that. But if there's anything that you want me to go through on Genos 2, please leave a comment below. And for now, that's been me. My name is Adam. Don't forget to check us out at scan.co.uk for all Yamaha, amazing Yamaha keyboard products. And we'll see you next time. So goodbye for now. See you later. Bye-bye.